Hey, how's it going? This is Anthony with Graphicsphere again. This video I want to show you how to use the software for the Roland CJ-500 CAMMJETT. It has a built-in vinyl cutter, contour cutter. It prints and cuts up to 54-inch vinyl. So let me turn it around. Okay, so after you have your image ready to print and cut, what you do is you do the designing, and then you export as a EPS file. That way it saves the image and the contour lines in the same file. So then open it, go up here, okay, so here's the software. So in the Roland CJ-500 software has color choice. You can install it in any version Windows you want, including Windows 10 here. So I've got Windows 10 installed. Okay, so once the file's in there, if you look at it closely, change the number of copies to say 24. Spacing usually is 0.15. And to get it to fit, I'm gonna have to scale it down a little. There you go. Okay, here is where you select the material you're printing on. So I'm printing on like a white vinyl. These are the settings that you'd want to change if, depending on how good a quality you're trying to sell the product. So for normal use, I usually do it under super. That's usually the best quality at the best speed. But if you don't care as much for the quality, but you can do higher speed, if it's going to be viewed at farther distance, then normal would be good. Much faster speed. So super is what I'm going to set it at. Then the Icc Output Profile. So the output profile depends on what material you're using. These are built in for Roland, so it'll match the material, so the color comes out at a better match with the colors you're trying to print. Okay, and now here's a cut menu. See, it recognized it with a contour line. So you just want to check the cutter drivers, and like I said, always go to a more slower setting. Change the force to 90, since that's what I've tested and that's the best force for my material. It'll differ for each material you're using, so you have to test what force or depth at each material you're cutting. So 90 is what I've found to be the best for my vinyl. Okay, So it's ready. Let me do a send to the printer. Alright. And just hit send and it'll send to it. Okay, here's the Roland CJ-500 that I just sent the test print and cut to. So let me open the door. I'm just going to videotape it now while it's printing and cutting to show you the quality of this printer. There's a lot of things you can do with it. You can make banners, signs, vehicle graphics, stickers, whole ton of things you can do with this printer. It has a built-in heater. So let me show you this. I'll plug in the heater just to show you it's working. So the heater, goes into the metal covers underneath, so it'll heat up the area that it's printing from the front and the back. So I set it to about 100 degrees, which is fine for regular vinyl, and that just speeds up the drying process. So if you're producing bigger jobs, you want it to dry faster so you're not waiting longer. But really you really don't need a heater. It's mostly just for someone that just wants to save a little more time, but it's not really needed, just to let you know. So yeah, that's the heater. Heats up really fast. Gets about 100, 102 degrees, and then shuts off. And it'll turn back on every few minutes just to heat back up. So what that does is just it's just heating up the area that it's printing, that way it dries faster. But here's a sample of the quality of it. Prints really small stickers, really big graphics if you wanted to, up to 54-inch. This one is going to take some time, so it's on a super setting. You can set it up to different settings, with fast mode, draft, even photo mode, which is the slowest mode, but it's still super mode is what I use for most stickers and jobs that I do. It gives you the best quality at the best speed, but you could put it on normal, which is for faster speed, and it's still good enough quality to sell somebody, but super is the best, I would say. I'll just go over some more stuff while I'm waiting for it to print. Okay, so this printer has a refill system. So what you can do is you take these caps off right here, and you've got ink that I can fill up with just a funnel, and you put each funnel in there and fill them up. See, I run it at low, but you don't need a lot of ink in these for them to work good. Probably leave it, I usually keep them at half full, That's the best, you know, to keep them at. The ink does not use a lot of ink. I mean, only when I do cleanings and maintenance I go through a lot of more ink than normal. But if you're, you know, using the printer a lot and you're not using a lot of ink, then, you know, you don't go through a lot of ink if you're just doing a lot of printing. It uses very little ink, and you can save up to, you know, about a tenth of the cost of you know, buying the cartridges. So that was just one thing to say. Okay, and another thing I want to go over is the parts that I replaced that it's going to include. So I put 2 new heads in there. They're the Epson DX2 print heads. And another thing I changed was the pump and the capping station. They're all solvent compatible, solvent ink compatible. That means that they're just, you know, a stronger material that they use to, so, you know, it can withstand solvent ink, which is a more, like, you know, stronger ink than, you know, aqueous ink. Okay, and then another thing I changed out are the ink lines. So they're all new ink lines in there. Everything on this printer, it's really clean. I washed it, made sure everything is clean. And also, this printer has a brand new scan motor and feed motor. I have the receipts from this past month when I changed them out. That's basically normal for you to change out a feed and scan motor every few years if you're doing a lot of printing with it. Sometimes it'll last you, you know, 5 years, just depends. When I got this, it had issues, and when I, you know, went through everything, I calibrated everything, aligned the heads. So then did multiple test prints, test cuts to get it just right. So right now it's, you know, all set up, ready to go. Alright, I just videotaped the it printing. Now it's doing the contour cut. So this machine can, you know, cut out hundreds and hundreds of stickers at one time. Depending on what quality you need, sometimes you need to print at a higher quality, so it takes long. If you're printing at a, you know, lesser quality for, you know, bigger signs that aren't gonna, you know, be looked up too close, then, you know, it's not gonna take as long. But, you know, for smaller stuff, it is higher quality you need, so it, you know, takes at least, you know, about 5 minutes for this job to have been completed from start to finish, about, you know, printing and cutting it. So there you go. Let me peel this off, show you how accurate it was, because I already set up all the settings before, so there you go. There's my sample sticker I did.